Good morning. My name is Tom Bell, and my pronouns are he, him. I'm a member of your UUI Board of Trustees. If you are here for the first time, thank you for joining us. We look forward to getting to know you. We invite everyone present in the sanctuary today to join our in-person coffee hour immediately following the service. During our service, there is a time for sharing the joys and sorrows of our lives with one another. Cards for sharing your joy or sorrow are on the table by the entrance to the sanctuary. We ask that you pick them up and fill them out prior to that section of our service. Community is one of our core values. This means that we love and care for each other while providing opportunities for fellowship and personal growth. We strive to be a welcoming community for spiritual growth, moral reflection, social action, and religious education. We are so glad you are here with us today. We hope that you find the service inspiring and meaningful. Thank you.
Good morning. So I'm Matt Russell. My pronouns are he, him, and I am slightly nervous but excited to be the worship associate for this morning, so you'll see me up here a couple times. So a chalice, a lit chalice, is the symbol of our tradition, and it serves as a beacon of hope. And I've asked Sandra Gruber to come up and light the chalice this morning. So as we light our chalice in the sanctuary, I invite those on Zoom to light a chalice or a candle or to type your location in the chat. Our chalice lighting and opening words today are written by Reverend Dawn and the Reverend Dr. ChatGPT. We gather together this morning in body and in spirit, with courage and with hope. For here in this sacred space, we are home. Take heart, friends. This place, this moment, is held together by the love and care that we bring to it. The world may feel heavy, and the way ahead may be uncertain, but we do not travel it alone. We are woven into a fabric of care, a tapestry of belonging that stretches beyond time and space. Whether in joy or in struggle, we are held by each other, by those who came before, and by the possibilities yet to unfold. It is good to be together this morning.
Please rise in body or in spirit as we join together in singing hymn number 1, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door.
If you'd remain standing, if you would please now join me saying our covenant, which should be on the screen there in a moment, and it's also printed in your bulletin. There we go. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. And now we get to say our covenant in Spanish. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia y el servicio es su ley, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y ayudarnos unos a otros. Este es nuestro pacto. Thank you. Please be seated. So this community, our congregation, is a very active and lively place. There are many opportunities to participate. There are many more things written in your announcement. Please read through that when you have a moment. But here are a couple things that are coming up. Please join us February 9th for an all-church pitch-in after church. Last names A through I will bring a main dish, J and S bring a side dish, and T through Z, please bring a dessert. If you have a child registered for kindergarten through first grade OWL, this is a reminder that our adult child orientation is today from 12:30 until 2:30. Light refreshments will be provided. And if Cindy Wilson is here, you want to come forward, she has some words for us.
Hi, I'm Cindy Wilson. I'm chair of the Special Funds Committee. Last November, if you remember, I spoke to the congregation, excuse me, about the endowment fund, which is part of the Special Funds Committee. Today, I want to speak to you about the Beacon Fund. This is the second part of the Special Funds Committee. And it was established at the same time as the endowment was established in 1994. This fund is financed each year by 1% of the annual budget. That amount compounds every year when it is not used. So actually, at this point, there is a good bit of money in our special funds for the Beacon Fund. The Community Beacon Fund provides funding for local activities that address human needs. Projects awarded a grant are those which live out our commitment to community consciousness, raising, and social justice. Projects approved promote Unitarian Universalism and UUI values and ideals, and serve to advance our mission as a beacon of our community. The Community Beacon Fund recently financed the startup of a UUI Girl Scout troop. It also funded the art project Golden Scales and Silver Wings Community Art Day. We have funded the Exodus Refugee Family Welcome Team in 2022. We have funded the Anti-Racist, Anti-Bias Workshop and the UUI Peace Camp outreach in 2017, as well as Spirit Matters Choir for Spirit and Place Festival through the Indianapolis Women's Chorus. That we did in 2006. And then the Interweave Indie Pride booth in 2005, before our church took over funding the booth and UU's congregations took over funding the booth. These are only a few of the projects that have been funded since 1996. I received funding for a kids' physics education curriculum in 1999, working with low-income students at St. Joan of Arc Summer School. That included a presentation of their miniature race cars for families and friends at UUI. I wish I could find all the wonderful pictures I had of that to show you, but they are gone. Committees and individual members can request funds. Here's how. Go to Spirit and Learning on UUI's website. As you can see, go over to Spirit and Learning, touch on it, you click on it, and then the Beacon Fund comes up. It's the second one down. Okay, and then, saying pretty much what I said to you today, go down to where it says click here for Beacon Fund application. And there it is. And if you click on it, up comes the application, which you can print out. You do have to pay attention because there are requirements and some time constraints. So please read the application carefully. Our committee hopes that some of you will take advantage of this fund in the coming year. We look forward to it.
Two additional announcements. First, there's a free concert at All Souls today at 4 p.m. to celebrate the life of Dottie Huffman, a longtime organist at All Souls. She was 102 when she died several weeks ago. And in gratitude for the life of Carlin Johnson and in memory of her, the board has approved a scholarship fund for our Spanish cultural and language immersion trip to Mexico this summer. So if you are on the fence about attending and finances were restricting you, we invite you to apply. Just email me at revdawn@uui.org for information. Now let us enter the time of the service where we share the joys and sorrows of our lives with one another so that they may be held in community. As the music plays in just a moment, I invite folks in the sanctuary to please come up and drop a stone in the bowl if something is on your heart today. You can use both sides of the table. And if you've written your joy or sorrow on a card, please place it in the basket at the table and I will read it out loud. The cards are by the entrance to the sanctuary for easy pickup when you come in. And for those of you who are on Zoom, we invite you to use the chat feature. Please put either joy or sorrow in all caps, plus your name and pronouns at the beginning of what you are sharing if you would like me to read it out loud here in the sanctuary. You can also symbolically drop a stone into the bowl by typing "drops stone" or just DS into the chat. Let us share the joys and sorrows of our lives. These were the joys and sorrows shared today. Don shares the sorrow that he spent 12 hours in the emergency room and still can't eat and does not have any type of flu or COVID, so they're still trying to figure it out. Gobi shares the joy that he and his mom went to the Pokagon State Park with UUI friends, and it was fun. Hello to anyone joining us. This was the weekend of the UUI retreat at Pokagon. I was there until about 6 o'clock this morning. And it was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it if you haven't gone before. It is a lovely retreat weekend up at Pokagon, and it will be held again next year. Cindy and Ray share both a sorrow and a joy. The sorrow is the death of Dottie Huffman, retired organist at All Souls. The joy is a memorial concert for her at All Souls today at 4 o'clock. Sandra Gruber asks that we please send healing thoughts to her California friend Susan, who's recovering from surgery. Sharon and Carolyn share that 11 years ago was our wedding in Los Angeles. Cake and muffins at coffee hour to celebrate. Happy anniversary, official one, but not the real one, the legal one. Daphne shares the joy that she made it into all-state band, even though she was really shaky when she auditioned. Congratulations. And Dustin shares the joy that his partner Brittany's birthday is next Sunday, February 2nd, 30 years young, and we will be out of town skiing. I hope he had your permission to share all that. We know that there are many other joys and sorrows in this community that remain on our hearts and in our minds, even though they're not shared out loud today. Let us take a few moments to breathe together as we hold those joys and sorrows. As we breathe in, let us settle into our seats just a little bit more. As we breathe out, I invite you to let the stress of the world around us just leave your body for a few moments. Let us take this time to breathe together in this safe place, in this brave space. Feel the air as it moves around you, the air that is being breathed in and out by other members of this beloved community. Air that connects us to one another and to all of life. Blessed be, and amen.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Morning. As always, if anybody of any age would like to join me up front, now is a great time to do that. Good morning, Vin. Hi, Allison. It is always so good to see you all. Hi, Matt. Hi, Mackenzie. All right. So, last week, We talked about heroes and we talked about villains and we talked about how sometimes the line between the two is like a little blurrier than we like to make it. And we talked about how people, everyone, even us, can evolve. So sometimes our evolution makes for a really good story too. Good morning, Everest. But this week, I want to tell you about a UU fairy tale. And it goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a Unitarian named Henry David Thoreau. Maybe you've heard of him. Maybe. When he was 28 years old, he went out into the woods by himself, and he built a cabin by a beautiful pond that I am ineffectually making manifest right now. There it is. He built it with his own 2 hands, and he planted a garden for his food, and he lived off the land for 2 whole years, all by himself. And life was beautiful, and nature was beautiful, and somehow, in spite of doing every single thing for himself that a human being has to do to survive, he still had lots of time to read and write. Right? Okay. Unitarians, yeah, I just heard a from that. I am also side-eyeing Henry David Thoreau's fairy tale right now, because Unitarians love this story, rightfully so. It's beautiful. It's like a snow globe, or it's like one of those little book nooks, right, that you construct, and then you slide between the books on your shelf, and it lights up, and there's like this little magic fairyland in there just for you. It's our perfect image of what it means to live a simple life in harmony with nature. And sometimes us grown-ups think about quitting our jobs and like running away to the woods, and sometimes we gaze wistfully off into space and we sigh like this. Maybe some of us are doing it right now. It's a really pretty story, and sometimes it also makes us feel like a tiny bit guilty, because we can't quite seem to figure out how to live like Henry David Thoreau, even though he is one of our UU heroes, and even though we really do believe that living simply, like he did, is a good idea. But, as with most fairy tales, there's a bit more to the story. So first of all, Henry's cabin was not on land that belonged to him. Right. It belonged to Ralph Waldo Emerson, who was actually a really good friend of Henry David Thoreau. And also, clearly, you can make the argument that before them, all of that land belonged to the Nipmuc and the Massachusetts people, right? But things happened, and Ralph gave Henry permission to build this cabin on his land. And to be fair, like, it wasn't a super big cabin. It was like maybe 10 by 15 feet. So like maybe like from Dustin down to like Mackenzie, and like from this row of people over to like here. So it was kind of like a tiny house, right? And the inside of it looked like this. So like he wasn't living super fancy, right? And that part is true. Where is his bathroom is a very interesting question. His bathroom was, in fact, outside. I don't know if there was an outhouse, but I do know that that part of the country gets a lot of snow in the winter, right? So we're not saying that he didn't experience any hardship, okay? Like, he definitely did. But he also didn't build this cabin all by himself either. Ralph helped him at times. He had another friend who helped him at times. People loaned him tools. And honestly, the logs that you would have to cut down and then mill into boards and then use to build this cabin were too heavy to carry by himself, right? So like he needed some help. He also grew a lot of his own food, but like he didn't grow all of it. His mom, Cynthia, and his sister, Sophia, like they brought him bread and butter and other things like that. And they even did his laundry, which made me super side-eye when I first heard that. But okay, I just heard someone say laundry machine. Here's what a laundry machine looked like back then, my friends. Like, it was a little bit intense. There were no washers or dryers. It was a day's work, right? So like, yeah. You think they know how they dried them? How did they dry them, Nathan? Yep. clothesline and clothespins, which, like, to be fair, how many people here still hang their clothes out to dry, or some of them anyway, now today? I do, but like that ringer, like it can go. I don't want to do that. But you know, he also walked the town sometimes and bought stuff he wanted, including meat, right? Because like protein can be a little hard to come by if you can't grow enough beans. You bet he didn't want to. He didn't love it. He didn't love hunting Everest. And he did talk about it a little bit now and then, but mostly like hunting squirrels. Like he wasn't like a big hunter. But where did he get the money for the stuff at the store if he's like living in this cabin in the woods all the time, right? Well, he did work sometimes. Sometimes he sold his writing for money, and sometimes he worked as a surveyor, which is like the person that goes out and maps out land and like puts stakes in the ground so we'll know whose property belongs to who and that kind of thing. So he did leave. He wasn't just like at the cabin all the time for 2 straight years, which would be kind of like being grounded, like if you couldn't leave. So am I telling you all of this to make fun of Henry David Thoreau? To be like, oh, you know, he's kind of like a TikTok influencer and like he says all this great stuff on camera, but behind the scenes, he's actually sneaking away from the cabin in the woods to like go buy meat. No, I'm not. I know about most of these things because he told us in his writings, right? But this is one of those stories that we all just kind of know, and like how many people have actually read Walden? Okay, so there's like some hands in here, but there's like maybe 10 to 15% of the people in this room have read Walden. So the whole thing of like getting help, does that mean that what he did was not important? No, Matt doesn't think so. Your mileage may vary. It really just depends. But it is an interesting question because sometimes we act like if we can't do something to like the 1000th degree, right? Like we're failing. Like it wasn't worth doing at all. And we talked about that last week too. Some people say we let perfect be the enemy of good. So, and in RE, we sometimes share a quote by a woman named Layla Ibrahim, and it goes like this. She says that Unitarian Universalism, this is how she explains it. It is a blessing each of us was born. It matters what we do with our lives. What each of us knows about God is a piece of the truth. We don't have to do it alone. Henry David Thoreau knew going in that he couldn't do stuff by himself, right? But he was curious about how much he could do. It was a challenge that he wanted to set himself and see what he could learn from it. And this is part of why his family and his friends helped, because they were really curious about this project too. And they loved Henry. And honestly, sometimes there is nothing more interesting than watching someone that you love do a really cool project that they're super excited about, right? So, of course, they would bring him bread and butter and sometimes wash his shirts, right? He wasn't cheating. Can somebody flip that slide for me? Because I cannot get it to go, and it's my favorite one. There it is. See? That was exactly my reaction. Indeed. Indeed, he is, being in community with someone smaller than himself. That is your brother. And the reason that we still talk about Henry David, despite the fact that a lot of us would love to run off to the woods and live in a cottage and like be creepy little witches and like all of those things, is because Henry's experiment is still interesting to us right now in modern times. So we keep asking ourselves stuff like, what do I need to get rid of that's distracting me from what and how amazing it is to just be alive? Is there value in growing food or learning how to make things from scratch, even if we don't have to? Is finding out for ourselves that we could do that stuff if we need to important? And this is a quote straight from Henry, my friends, what is the use of a house if you don't have a tolerable planet to put it on? Henry asked a lot of questions about our relationship to nature that still influence us today. He came to believe really deeply that we need to slow down and really feel our interdependence with the plants and animals around us so we understand the importance of caring for the earth. And whatever we do in life, Henry believed we should do it on purpose, should choose, instead of just doing what people around us expect us to. even if they think we're a little weird. So, this story, even though we tell it like it's one man's journey to find himself, is actually really shaped who we are as UUs today. We are a curious people who dive into big projects, and we're also the community that brings each other bread so that some of those among us can keep like studying bugs or writing poetry or figuring out how to make this the greenest church campus on the planet, right? And that's not a fairy tale, but I think it's a pretty cool story. All right, so let us sing ourselves out to our religious exploration groups. And let us bring some new friends. I see some new friends here today.
May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
We're going to be busting all sorts of myths today. Imagine there's a man. I know it's hard to imagine. But this man is someone who, against all odds, has achieved great success by pulling himself up by his bootstraps. He built an empire from scratch, relied solely on his own brilliance and perseverance, and stood as a shining example of what it means to be truly, truly self-made. Or so the story goes. And the story, beloveds, it is rarely, if ever, true. We hear about figures like Elon Musk and Donald Trump held up as some paragons of self-reliance. But Musk, the tech visionary who seemingly appeared out of nowhere to revolutionize space travel and electric cars, he benefited from significant family wealth. And Trump, the business mogul who likes to claim he started with just a small loan of $1 million from his father, as if $1 million was a small loan. And in reality, his inheritance and financial support amounted to hundreds of millions over time. Now, though it might hurt some of us to mention them in the same paragraph, hurts me. The reality is that these stories share something in common with the myth of our own beloved Henry David Thoreau. Not the reality, but the myth, who is often idealized for his time at Walden Pond, living off the land in solitude. Except, as we heard in our Words for All Ages, he often walked into the nearby town of Concord to visit family and friends, frequently joining them for meals. His mother assisted him with tasks such as laundry and provided food, and he was living rent-free on land owned by his friend and fellow transcendentalist, the Unitarian minister Ralph Waldo Emerson. Thoreau's experience at Walden was absolutely not one of complete isolation or self-reliance. In fact, it was a carefully structured experiment supported by a network of family and friends. But the myth endures, doesn't it? Beloveds, no one does it alone, ever. And yet this myth of independence, of radical individuality persists. At a minimum, this myth ignores the many ways individuals benefit from collective resources and societal structures, from public infrastructure like roads and transportation systems, to education systems that provide foundational knowledge, to government programs and subsidies offering crucial financial support, not to mention legal and regulatory frameworks protecting business interests. And let's not forget about healthcare and public health initiatives that contribute to a productive workforce and safety nets that provide security. And oh yeah, in times of crisis, corporate bailouts and financial protections preventing economic collapse. Oh yeah, and let's not forget the military and national security that protect trade routes and taxpayer-funded research and development that fuels scientific and technological breakthroughs. Even the spaces that we inhabit are shaped by zoning laws and urban planning, and the information we rely on is often provided by media and public broadcasting. When we look closely, we don't actually even have to look that closely, it becomes clear that success is never, ever a solitary endeavor, but is the result of collective effort and shared resources. Radical individualism, this belief that the individual comes first, last, and always, and that reliance on others is a sign of weakness, that is the myth. And it is a dangerous one. The roots of radical individualism come from a variety of places. It did not develop in a vacuum. It's propped up by patriarchy, which valorizes traits like independence, dominance, and competition, traditionally associated with masculinity, while devaluing interdependence, collaboration, and care work, which are often feminized. It's a mindset that erases feminine wisdom, dismissing as quaint or outdated the idea of it takes a village. This radical individualist ethos is also reinforced by capitalism, which thrives on competition and rewards the few at the top at the expense of the many. Capitalism that tells us to prioritize personal gain over collective well-being, convincing us that our worth is measured by what we achieve alone. And we Unitarian Universalists also have to grapple with the reality that a form of radical individualism was preached from our 19th century transcendentalist pulpits and has profoundly influenced our faith since then. Now, don't get me wrong, transcendentalism offered an extremely important counterpoint to the Calvinist view of human nature as being inherently sinful, and instead it embraced an optimistic view of humanity. Transcendentalists believe in the inherent goodness and potential of every individual to realize their own divine nature. And part of the way to do this was through solitude and being in the natural world. These can be good things. They often are good things. But the Transcendentalist movement, with figures like Emerson and Thoreau at its forefront, also emphasized self-reliance and personal spiritual awakening, which has been twisted into this idea of radical individuality. Emerson's essay, aptly titled Self-Reliance, has anybody read that? I know some of you read Walden. Yep, Self-Reliance, about the same number of people. I think there's an overlap. That essay famously proclaimed that each individual should trust their own inner voice and avoid conformity, reinforcing the idea that success and fulfillment are personal pursuits, not collective ones. And now over time, the focus on inner truth and autonomy has contributed to a belief system that one should seek fulfillment independently, often disregarding the importance of communal wisdom and collective action. And this was formative to both our nation and our Unitarian heritage. But beloveds, we now find ourselves at a crucial moment as we witness the rise of fascism globally and nationally, and increasing economic inequality, a moment when it is necessary to shift from radical individuality to something that can truly sustain us during these fraught times. And that something is creating communities of mutual aid. Mutual aid is more than just helping each other out. It's a commitment to collective care, solidarity, and shared responsibility. It's the understanding that our well-being is interconnected, that no one thrives alone, and that by pooling our resources, our skills, and compassion, we can together build resilience in the face of uncertainty. Mutual aid is about creating networks of support that empower communities to meet their own needs, not out of charity, but out of a deep recognition of our shared humanity and interdependence. Beloveds, it does take a village, not just to raise a child, but to simply exist in today's world. Mutual aid has long been a vital survival strategy for marginalized and oppressed peoples who often face systemic barriers to accessing essential resources and support. These communities practice mutual aid through endeavors like community-run food programs, informal housing assistance, or grassroots healthcare initiatives. In the face of discrimination and exclusion from mainstream institutions, mutual aid allows people to reclaim agency, to foster resilience, and build solidarity, ensuring that no one is left behind. From LGBTQ+ support networks offering shelter and medical aid, to immigrant communities organizing childcare and legal assistance, mutual aid provides a powerful model of care and resistance grounded in the principle that everyone's well-being is interconnected, that we are all a part of the interdependent web. By connecting with our neighbors and organizing with our communities, we build resilience against oppressive systems. This can be a new way of understanding how we relate to one another, particularly if we've been privileged enough to be able to trust on the government to provide for us, to have support efforts to provide for us. And so this is a shift of understanding that we cannot rely on the government for these programs and these support anymore. We can only rely on each other. This collective support will help to ensure that together we can withstand and overcome the challenges ahead. Now, perhaps more than ever, we must know each other, support each other, and resist the forces that seek to divide and empower us. The president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, the Reverend Dr. Sophia Bettencourt, in her statement after the November election, reminded us that we are a sanctuary people. Beloveds, heresy and radical individualism are not the only thing in our history. Our Unitarian Universalist tradition has also been one of offering solidarity, shelter, and asylum. From the abolitionist movements to helping refugees fleeing Nazi Germany in World War II, through civil rights movements to solidarity with LGBTQ+ communities, we have a tradition of creating spaces of refuge, not just for those outside our communities, but for those within it as well. We know that we are strongest when we care for one another in tangible, meaningful ways. But here's the thing. We can't do mutual aid if we don't know what's going on with each other. Mutual aid requires knowledge, intimacy, and presence. Here at UUI, we are not just consumers of spiritual goods, we are community. But sadly, the way it often is now on Sunday mornings at UU congregations all over, not just here, is that many people come to worship on Sunday morning, receive inspiration, and then spend coffee hour busily engaging in committee work and church business without ever truly connecting with one another. I am not going to ask you to raise your hands if that describes your church experience. But to truly become a community of mutual aid, we need to instead be developing deep, intentional relationships with one another, knowing each other's struggles and celebrating each other's joys, and being present in times of need. Shifting from being a consumer of church to a co-creator can be a really big change. In fact, it presents us with something called an adaptive challenge, meaning a complex problem that cannot be solved with technical solutions or quick fixes, but requires deep transformation in values, behaviors, and ways of thinking. Unlike technical problems, which can be addressed with existing knowledge and expertise, oh, it's broken, it just needs a new battery. Adaptive challenges demand learning, experimentation, and a shift in mindset. They often involve uncertainty. They often involve resistance to change and the need for collective effort and leadership. Part of the adaptive challenge before us right now requires a shift in mindset from viewing church as a place we attend to instead viewing church as a community that we together cultivate. It means moving beyond a transactional approach, church being where we come to receive inspiration and participate in a program, and shifting to an interdependent, transformational approach, church where we create a community of mutual support. This adaptive challenge calls us to reimagine what it means to belong, not simply showing up on Sunday morning, but showing up for one another in ways that matter. True mutual aid demands that we create structures that foster ongoing connection and accountability. This could look like establishing even more robust small group ministry programs or even zip code care circles within the congregation, where members commit to regularly check in on each other, share life updates, and offer practical and emotional support, and know what's going on with each other. It might mean developing a buddy system, pairing newer members with longtime congregants to build relationships that extend beyond Sunday morning. As I mentioned earlier, I just got back this morning from the church retreat at Pokagon State Park. And let me tell you, it was a completely different way of being with and getting to know other UUIers. However it happens, these intentional practices help weave a web of care that strengthens our bonds and nurtures a deeper sense of belonging. Additionally, creating communities of mutual aid requires us to share our vulnerability, to ask for help when we need it, and to recognize that interdependence is a strength, not a weakness. This is really hard work because it challenges the cultural norms of self-sufficiency and privacy that many of us have been conditioned to embrace. We don't want to let people know if we're struggling. We're so often told to keep our struggles private, to avoid burdening others, and to project an image of having it all together. None of us have it all together. Shifting to a culture of mutual aid means stepping outside of our comfort zones and allowing ourselves to be truly seen, whether it's asking for help when we're struggling, sharing our vulnerabilities in trusted spaces, or being willing to receive support as readily as we give it. It means moving beyond the idea that strength is measured by how much we can do alone, and instead recognize that true strength comes from our willingness to lean on each other. And mutual aid isn't just about responding to crises. It's about proactively building relationships of trust and reciprocity. It's about creating a community where no one feels like they have to carry their burdens alone and where joy is amplified through collective celebration. It calls us to ask deeper questions. How are we supporting the most vulnerable among us? How are we showing up for each other outside of these walls, outside of Sunday morning? How are we putting love at the center? One of the ways we can begin to engage in this adaptive challenge together is by attending the workshops and adult religious education courses that focus on learning what it means to practice radical hospitality rather than radical individuality. Courses like the Trans Inclusion in Congregations course, the upcoming Embodying Hospitality workshop, the soon-to-be-announced, I guarantee you'll hear about it soon, Healthy Masculinity course. These courses and workshops provide us with opportunities for the deep transformation in our values, behaviors, and ways of thinking that this adaptive challenge presents us with. We can also try to engage it by trying to leave Sunday mornings between 11 and 12:30. I'm just going to start there. For connecting with one another. Don't talk shop at coffee hour today, maybe. Connect with each other. Share what is going on in your lives with each other. These small but meaningful shifts can help cultivate the kind of community that we aspire to be. If you need a place to start, rather than just asking, how are you? What's going on with you? I suggest something like, what is bringing you joy these days? That's a question that you can ask anyone even someone you are just meeting for the first time. As we engage this adaptive challenge, this shift from a mindset of radical individuality towards one of mutual aid, let us remember that interdependence is not just a belief or a value, it's a practice, a way of being in community together, a sacred commitment to one another. By embracing interdependence, we affirm the truth that our strength lies not in being alone, but in showing up for each other with open hearts and open hands. Let us cultivate communities of mutual aid where vulnerability is met with compassion, where support is freely given and freely received, and where love truly is at the center of all that we do. May it be so. May we make it so together.
Wrote this song a while ago, 2019, yeah. And I always thought of the kids dancing around and stuff, so that hopefully that comes through in this thing. The first verse on it says, "Sing a song that makes us all shine." And it's in tune, oh my goodness. Sing a song, makes us all shine. Sing a tune, we'll bide our time. Sing a song that makes us all shine. Sing a tune, we'll brighten our life and feel light and feel whole. Feel alive, way down in our soul. Feel light, feel whole, feel alive, way down in our soul. Dance a dance that makes us all shine. Dance a dance, we'll bide our time. Dance a dance that makes us all shine. Dance a dance, we'll brighten our life and feel light and feel whole and feel alive way down in our soul. Feel light, feel whole, feel alive way down in our soul. You can feel it now, there it is. It's not mine or hers or his. You can find it now, there it is. It's not mine or hers or his. Hey, give a gift that makes us all shine. Give a gift, we'll fill our time. Give a gift that makes us all shine. Give a gift that brightens our life. Feel light and feel whole and feel alive down in our soul. Feel light, feel whole, feel alive way down in our soul. You can feel it now, there it is. It's not mine or ours or theirs. You can feel it, there it is. It's not mine or ours or theirs. Sing a song that makes us all shine. Sing a tune, we'll bide our time. Sing a song that makes us all shine. Sing a tune, we'll brighten our life and feel light and feel whole and feel alive way down in our soul. Feel light, feel whole, feel alive way down in our soul. Sing a song that makes us all shine. Sing a song that makes us all shine. Sing a song Thanks.
So every month, UUI gives half of the Sunday collection here to a cause chosen by our Social Justice Committee. This January, the Share the Plate offering is going to be going to the Black Church Coalition. It's an Indianapolis-based grassroots organization comprising of Black faith leaders and community groups. So this year, their goal includes increasing transparency at the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, creating a harm reduction team to address rising drug overdoses, yes, and pushing for lawmakers to invest in public safety, infrastructure, and health initiatives. So you can give on your smartphone by texting the dollar amount you want to give and the word share to the phone number. It's in the Zoom chat and it's in the bulletin. Or you can give through our website at uui.org. So here in the sanctuary, we have ushers that will come around to collect the donations. May this offering be gratefully received by us to do good in our community, and hopefully it will be joyfully given by you. What a wonderful song. So our closing words today, thank you for your generosity. Don't want to forget that. Our closing words today are from the Reverend Dr. Wayne Arneson. And I love these words. It's very short, but it makes an excellent point. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down, there is another truth. You are not alone.
Please rise in body or in spirit as we join together in singing, "We Will Rise Together."
We will rise together, you
So if you'd please join me now in the chalice extinguishing words. They're on the screen, and it should also be printed in the order of service. Yes. Now we extinguish the flame of our chalice, but not the light of understanding, the warmth of compassion, or the fire of commitment. Let us keep those until we meet again. Go in peace.